The fluorescent lights of the subway car flicker overhead as I clutch Sofia's hand tighter, her small fingers sticky with the remnants of the graham crackers I'd packed for breakfast. It's 6:45 in the morning, and my daughter's head droops against my hip, still half asleep despite the screech of metal on metal as we hurtle through the tunnel toward Manhattan. "Mama, are we almost there?" she mumbles, her voice thick with exhaustion. "Almost, baby," I lie, knowing we have another 20 minutes before we reach my stop, then another 10-minute walk to Mrs. Chen's apartment, where Sofia will spend the next 12 hours while I work. 12 hours. The thought makes my chest tighten with the familiar guilt that's become my constant companion since I took this job 6 months ago. But the paycheck that hits my account every 2 weeks is more than I made in 6 months at my previous 3 jobs combined. Enough to cover rent on our tiny studio in Queens, enough for Sofia's asthma medication, enough to finally start saving for something better. Enough to make the sacrifice worth it. Or so I tell myself every morning when I see the disappointment in my daughter's eyes as I drop her off. The train lurches to a stop at 59th Street, and I guide Sofia through the crush of morning commuters, her pink backpack bouncing against my leg. Outside, the November air bites through my coat, the same black wool coat I've worn for 3 winters now, the hem fraying, the buttons barely holding on. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. Mrs. Chen opens her door before I can knock, her wrinkled face creasing into a warm smile as Sofia rushes past me into the familiar apartment that smells like jasmine tea and the dumplings she makes every Wednesday. "You look tired, Elena," Mrs. Chen says in her heavily accented English, her eyes sharp despite her 73 years. "That boss of yours, he works you too hard." I force a smile, pressing 3 $20 bills into her hand, our weekly arrangement. "I'm fine, Mrs. Chen." "Really?" She takes the money with a disapproving cluck of her tongue, but pockets it nonetheless. We both know she needs it as much as I need her help. "That man, he looks at you funny on TV. I see him on the news, always behind you at those press conferences. The way his eyes—" "I have to go," I interrupt, not wanting to hear what she's seen, what I've felt but refused to acknowledge for 6 months. "I'll be back by 7:30 at the latest." I kiss Sofia's forehead, breathing in the strawberry scent of her shampoo, the only luxury I allow myself, the expensive kind that doesn't trigger her sensitive skin. "Be good for Mrs. Chen, okay?" "Okay, Mama." She's already pulling out the coloring books Mrs. Chen keeps specifically for her, barely noticing as I slip out the door. The walk to Moretti Tower takes exactly 9 minutes. I know because I've timed it every day for the past 6 months, calculating down to the second how long I can spend with my daughter before I have to transform into someone else entirely. Elena Rossi, personal assistant to Luca Moretti. The words still feel foreign on my tongue, even after all this time. The building rises 60 stories above 5th Avenue, all glass and steel and money. So much money it makes my head spin. I show my ID to the security guard in the lobby, Tony, who always asks about Sofia and keeps a bowl of lollipops at his desk specifically for the few employees brave enough to bring their children to company events. "Morning, Miss Rossi," he says, his Brooklyn accent thick and familiar. "Boss is already upstairs. Been there since 5. Of course he has. Luca Moretti doesn't sleep like normal people. I've learned this over 6 months of arriving at 7 in the morning to find him already at his desk, his suit jacket draped over his chair, his white shirt sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms corded with muscle and marked with scars I've never asked about. The private elevator to the 60th floor requires a key card and a fingerprint scan. The doors close, sealing me into the mirrored box, and I take a moment to check my reflection. Black pencil skirt, white blouse, low heels I can actually walk in. My dark hair pulled into a neat bun, minimal makeup, no jewelry except the small gold cross my mother gave me before she died. Professional. Invisible. Exactly what I need to be. The elevator opens directly into the reception area of Moretti's penthouse office suite. Floor-to-ceiling windows offer a panoramic view of Manhattan, the morning sun casting long shadows across the marble floors. Everything here screams wealth and power, the original artwork on the walls, the Italian leather furniture, the silence that's somehow more expensive in sound. My desk sits in the outer office, positioned so I can see everyone who enters while monitoring the closed door to Luca's private office. I set down my bag, power on my computer, and check the calendar for today's schedule. 9 o'clock, conference call with the board of Moretti Industries. 11 o'clock, meeting with city councilmen about the Brooklyn development project. 2 o'clock, lunch with Marco Dante to discuss the shipping merger. My stomach clenches at that last entry. Marco Dante. I've heard the name whispered in the hallways, seen the way other employees' faces tighten when he's mentioned. He's from one of the rival families. Not an enemy exactly, but not quite an ally either. The kind of man who smiles with too many teeth and looks at women like they're dessert. The kind of man Luca Moretti barely tolerates but can't quite eliminate from his business dealings. The intercom on my desk buzzes, Luca's voice filling the quiet office. Elena. My office. 3 words. No, please. No, when you have a moment. Just a command that expects immediate compliance. I grab my tablet and stand, smoothing down my skirt, taking a breath to steady myself before I open the door to his private domain. Luca Moretti sits behind his massive desk, backlit by the floor-to-ceiling windows that frame him like a painting. At 35, he's the youngest man to ever control the Moretti empire, a network of legitimate businesses that everyone knows serves as a front for less legitimate operations. Real estate, shipping, waste management, construction. All of it clean on paper, all of it hiding something darker underneath. He doesn't look up as I enter, his attention focused on the documents spread across his desk. His dark hair is perfectly styled despite the early hour, his jaw shadowed with stubble that somehow looks intentional rather than unkempt. The white shirt stretches across broad shoulders, the top 2 buttons undone, revealing a glimpse of the tattoo I know covers most of his chest. A family crest, someone once told me, though I've never been close enough to verify. The Dante meeting, he says, still not looking at me. Move it to the conference room. I want witnesses. I make a note on my tablet. Any particular witnesses? Or should I assemble the usual team? Russo, Chen, and Vega. He finally looks up, and the impact of his gaze hits me like it does every single time. Dark eyes that miss nothing, that seem to see straight through my professional facade to the exhausted single mother underneath. And you'll join us. My pen falters slightly. Sir, I'm not usually in the negotiation meetings. You are today. His tone leaves no room for argument. Dante has a reputation with women. I want you there to observe. The way he says it makes something low in my stomach tighten. There's a possessiveness in his voice that he quickly masks, but I heard it. I've been hearing it more and more lately. Little slips in his carefully maintained professional demeanor, moments when his control cracks just enough to reveal something hungry underneath. Of course, I say quietly. I'll arrange it. How's your daughter? The question catches me off guard. He rarely asks about Sofia, though I know he's aware of every detail of my life. He made that clear during my interview 6 months ago when he'd somehow known about her asthma, her favorite color, the name of her preschool. She's well. Thank you for asking. His eyes hold mine for a beat too long. Good. You left early yesterday. I want you to know that's acceptable when it concerns her health. It was just a regular checkup, but I appreciate your understanding. I'm not understanding, Elena. He stands, moving around the desk with the fluid grace of a predator. I'm invested. There's a difference. He's close now, close enough that I can smell his cologne, something dark and expensive that probably costs more than my monthly rent. Close enough that I have to tilt my head back to maintain eye contact, close enough that I can see the gold flecks in his dark eyes. Invested in your employees' well-being is admirable. I manage, keeping my voice steady even as my heart hammers against my ribs. A smile ghosts across his lips. Is that what you think you are? An employee? The question hangs in the air between us, loaded with implications I refuse to acknowledge. This is the line we've been dancing around for 6 months, the unspoken attraction that crackles in every interaction, every accidental touch, every lingering glance. Yes, I say firmly. That's exactly what I am. He studies me for a long moment, something like disappointment flickering across his face before he schools it back to neutrality. Then prepare the conference room for 2 o'clock. Dante will arrive exactly on time. He's many things, but late isn't one of them. I nod and turn to leave, forcing myself to walk slowly, professionally, even though every instinct screams at me to run. Elena! I pause at the door, not turning around. Wear your hair down today. My hand tightens on the door handle. Sir! It's not a request. His voice is soft, but there's steel underneath. Wear your hair down. And that gray dress. The one with the high neck. Heat floods my cheeks. He's noticed what I wear. Of course he has. Luca Moretti notices everything. That's inappropriate, I say, finally turning to face him. He's back at his desk, already focused on his papers, as if he hasn't just crossed a line we've both been carefully avoiding. So is a lot of what I do, Elena. But you'll do it anyway. Because he's right. I will. Because I need this job, because my daughter needs the health insurance, because the alternative is going back to working 3 minimum wage jobs and never seeing Sofia at all. Because somewhere in the past 6 months, the line between fear and fascination has blurred so completely I can't tell them apart anymore. At 1:55, I stand in the conference room, my dark hair falling in waves past my shoulders, the gray dress hugging curves I usually hide under shapeless blouses. I've positioned myself near the window, tablet in hand, every inch the professional assistant. But my heart pounds as I watch Luca take his seat at the head of the long table, his eyes tracking my every movement with an intensity that makes my skin flush. Russo, Chen, and Vega file in, 3 of Luca's most trusted advisors, men who've been with the Moretti family for decades. They nod respectfully to me, taking their seats, their faces carefully neutral. At precisely 2 o'clock, the door opens. Marco Dante enters like he owns the room, all charisma and expensive tailoring. He's handsome in an obvious way, perfectly styled blonde hair, blue eyes that sparkle with perpetual amusement, a smile that's probably charmed countless women into countless mistakes. Luca, he says warmly, as if they're old friends rather than rivals forced into cooperation by mutual business interests. Thank you for agreeing to meet. Marco! Luca's tone is cordial but cold. Shall we begin? But Marco's attention has already shifted, his eyes finding me by the window, traveling slowly from my face down to my heels and back up again with undisguised appreciation. And who is this vision? He asks, moving toward me with the confidence of a man who's never been rejected. I don't believe we've been introduced. I feel rather than see Luca's posture change, tension radiating from him like heat. Elena Rossi, I say professionally, extending my hand. Mr. Moretti's personal assistant. Marco takes my hand, but instead of shaking it, he brings it to his lips, his eyes never leaving mine. The pleasure is entirely mine, Miss Rossi. Though I have to say, Luca has been keeping you remarkably well hidden. Miss Rossi is here to take notes, Luca says, his voice cutting through the room like a blade. Not to be flattered by your pedestrian attempts at charm, Dante. Sit down so we can get this over with. Marco releases my hand slowly, his smile widening as if he's just discovered something delicious. Of course. Business first. But as he takes a seat across from Luca, his eyes keep finding mine, holding just a beat too long, full of promises and propositions. The meeting begins, but I can barely focus on the words being exchanged. The shipping merger, the port access, the percentage splits. It all fades into background noise as I become acutely aware of the 2 men in the room and the dangerous current running between them. Every time Marco addresses me directly, asking for clarification or my opinion on some minor detail, I feel Luca's gaze burning into me. His jaw clenches, his fingers tightening on the pen he's holding until I'm afraid it might snap. Miss Rossi, Marco says during a lull in negotiations, are you from New York originally? Your complexion suggests Italian heritage, but there's something different about you. Something refreshing. I was born in Queens, I reply neutrally, keeping my eyes on my tablet. And I'd prefer to keep the conversation focused on business, Mr. Dante. Call me Marco, please. He leans back in his chair, completely at ease despite the murder I can practically see brewing in Luca's eyes. And forgive me for being unprofessional, but it's rare to meet someone so beautiful who doesn't seem to realize it. That's enough. Luca's voice is quiet, but it silences the room instantly. Everyone freezes. Russo's hand stops mid-reach for his water glass. Chen's eyes dart between Luca and Marco, calculating. Vega, the oldest and wisest of the 3, simply leans back with the expression of a man who's seen this play out before and knows how it ends. Marco raises his eyebrows, his smile never faltering. I apologize if I've offended. I was simply complimenting your assistance. I know exactly what you were doing. Luca stands slowly, deliberately, and the temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. And you're going to stop. Now. The casual mask slips from Marco's face for just a moment, revealing something harder underneath. I wasn't aware Miss Rossi was off limits. If she's spoken for, you should make that clear. I'm making it clear now. My breath catches. This is it. The moment everything changes. The moment the careful professional distance we've maintained shatters beyond repair. Gentlemen, I interject, my voice surprisingly steady. I think we should focus on the contract terms. The shipping merger is too important to derail over. Over what, Elena? Luca's eyes pin me in place, and for the first time since I've known him, I see his control completely stripped away. What's underneath is raw and possessive and terrifying in its intensity. Over the fact that Marco has been eye-fucking you for the past hour while pretending to negotiate in good faith? Marco's chair scrapes against the floor as he stands, his own facade cracking. Careful, Moretti. Just because you've been too much of a coward to make a move doesn't mean the rest of us have to tiptoe around your... He doesn't finish the sentence. Luca moves with shocking speed for a man his size, rounding the table and grabbing Marco by his expensive tie, slamming him against the wall hard enough to rattle the window. The three advisors don't move, don't intervene. They simply watch with the detachment of men who know better than to get between predators. Listen very carefully, Luca says, his voice deadly calm despite the violence of his actions. Elena Rossi is mine. She's been mine since the moment she walked through my door 6 months ago. The only reason you're still breathing right now is because touching you creates complications I don't currently need. My heart hammers, so hard I'm certain everyone can hear it. Mine. He said it, claimed me in front of witnesses, drew a line that can never be uncrossed. Marco's face is red, his hands gripping Luca's wrists, but he doesn't fight back. He's smart enough to know that would be suicide. Understood, he manages to choke out. Message received. Luca releases him with a disgusted shove, straightening his own jacket as Marco staggers backward, adjusting his tie with shaking hands. Get out, Luca says quietly. We'll renegotiate the terms through lawyers. I don't want to see your face again unless absolutely necessary. Marco looks at me one last time, something like pity in his eyes, before he nods and walks out, his dignity barely intact. The door closes behind him with a soft click that sounds deafening in the sudden silence. Russo clears his throat. We'll give you two some privacy, he says, standing. Chen and Vega follow suit, filing out quickly, leaving me alone with Luca and the wreckage of what just happened. I should be angry. I should be terrified. I should be drafting my resignation letter in my head. Instead, I'm frozen in place, my body thrumming with adrenaline and something else. Something I've been denying for 6 months but can't deny anymore. Elena! Luca turns to face me, and the hunger in his eyes steals my breath. I need you to tell me if I just made a terrible mistake. You assaulted a business associate. I say, my voice barely above a whisper. You could have killed him. I wanted to. He takes a step toward me, and I instinctively back up until I hit the window, the glass cold against my back even through the dress. When he touched your hand, when he looked at you like you were something he could have, I wanted to put a bullet in his skull. Luca! I've been restraining myself for 6 months. Another step closer. Watching you walk through that door every morning in your conservative clothes with your hair up, thinking if I just kept my distance, if I just stayed professional, maybe I could have you in my life without ruining you. You don't ruin people. But even as I say it, I know it's a lie. Men like Luca Moretti destroy everything they touch. It's their nature. Don't I? He's close now. So close I can see the pulse pounding in his throat, can feel the heat radiating from his body. Ask my enemies. Ask the men who've crossed me. Ask your predecessor, who quit after 3 weeks because she couldn't handle the way I looked at her. I'm not her. No. His hand comes up to cut my jaw, his thumb tracing my lower lip with devastating gentleness. You're not. You're stronger. Braver. You have a daughter depending on you, so you've stayed despite knowing exactly what I am, exactly what I want from you. What do you want from me? I breathe, already knowing the answer but needing to hear him say it. Everything. The word is a confession and a threat. Your time, your loyalty, your body in my bed every night. Your daughter's laughter in my home. Your presence at my side when I build my empire and when I destroy my enemies. I want to mark you so completely that men like Marco Dante see you and know you're untouchable. His fingers slide into my hair, tilting my head back, and I should push him away, should remember all the reasons this is wrong, should think about Sofia and the job and the impossible chasm between our worlds. But I don't. I saw you talking to him, Luca murmurs, his lips hovering just above mine, and something in me snapped. 6 months of control, gone in an instant. I don't share, Elena. I don't compromise. And I sure as hell don't let other men put their hands on what belongs to me. I don't belong to you, I whisper, but there's no conviction in my voice. Don't you? His smile is dangerous, knowing. Then tell me to stop. Tell me you feel nothing when I'm near you. Tell me you don't lie awake at night thinking about this. I can't, because it would be a lie and we both know it. When his lips finally crash against mine, it's nothing like I imagined. It's not gentle or questioning. It's claiming, possessive, 6 months of restrained hunger unleashed in a single devastating kiss that makes my knees weak and my resolve crumble. I kiss him back, my hands fisting in his shirt, pulling him closer even as some distant part of my brain screams that this is a mistake, that this will destroy everything I've carefully built. But right now, with Luca Moretti's hands in my hair and his mouth on mine, and his body pressing me against the window 60 stories above Manhattan, I don't care. When we finally break apart, both breathing hard, his forehead rests against mine. Tell me this is real, he says, and for the first time since I've known him, Luca Moretti sounds uncertain. Tell me I'm not alone in this madness. You're not alone, I admit, the words feeling like surrender and liberation all at once. I feel it too. I've felt it since the beginning. Then stop fighting it. His hands frame my face, forcing me to meet his eyes. Stop pretending you're just my assistant. Stop hiding behind professionalism and propriety. Be mine, Elena. Completely. I have a daughter, I remind him, reality crashing back. I can't just. I know about Sofia. He cuts me off gently. I've always known. And I'm not asking you to choose between her and me. I'm asking you to let me into both of your lives. To let me protect you both, provide for you both. To let me be what you need. This is insane. We barely know each other. I know everything about you. His thumb strokes my cheekbone. Your favorite color is green. You take your coffee black with 1 sugar. You cry during animated movies but never in front of your daughter. You're terrified of failing her the way you think your parents failed you. My breath catches. How? Because I pay attention, Elena. Because from the moment you walked into my office 6 months ago, you became the most important thing in my world, and I make it my business to know everything about the things I value. You're a criminal, I say, needing to voice it, needing him to hear the words. What you do, the business you're in, I can't expose Sofia to that. I can't risk her safety. She'll be safer with me than she's ever been. His voice is absolute certainty. No one will ever touch her. No one will ever threaten her. I'll make sure of it. By doing what? Putting bodyguards on a 5-year-old. If necessary. He doesn't even blink. Whatever it takes to protect what's mine. I should be horrified. Instead, something warm and treacherous unfurls in my chest. The seductive promise of safety, of not having to fight every battle alone, of someone powerful and dangerous standing between my daughter and the world. I need time, I finally say. I need to think about this, to figure out what it means. Take all the time you need. He steps back, creating distance, though his eyes never leave mine. But know this, Elena, what happened today changed everything. I'm done pretending, done restraining myself, done watching you walk out that door, every evening wondering if you'll come back. He straightens his shirt, running a hand through his hair, transforming back into the controlled businessman as if the past few minutes never happened. But I can still feel the imprint of his hands on my skin, still taste him on my lips. Go home, he says quietly. Pick up your daughter. Spend the evening with her. And when you're ready to stop running from this, from us, you know where to find me. I gather my tablet with shaking hands, my mind spinning, my body still humming from his touch. At the door, I pause, looking back at him. He stands framed by the window, Manhattan spread behind him like a kingdom, and in that moment, I understand with perfect clarity what he is, what he's offering. Power, protection, possession. The question is whether I'm brave enough or foolish enough to say yes. I don't go straight to Mrs. Chen's apartment. Instead, I find myself walking, my heels clicking against the pavement as I move through the Manhattan streets without direction or purpose. My lips still burn from Luca's kiss. My skin still tingles where his hands touched me. My mind replays his words on an endless loop. Elena Rossi is mine. She's been mine since the moment she walked through my door 6 months ago. The November wind cuts through my coat, but I barely feel it. All I feel is the weight of the decision pressing down on me, the impossible choice between safety and desire, between the life I've carefully constructed and the one Luca is offering. My phone buzzes. A text from Mrs. Chen. Sofia asking for you. Says her tummy hurts. The words jolt me back to reality. I flag down a taxi, guilt flooding through me for losing track of time, for letting Luca Moretti scramble my thoughts so thoroughly that I forgot, even for a moment, that I have a daughter who needs me. Sofia is curled on Mrs. Chen's couch when I arrive, her small face pale, her breathing slightly labored. I know that look. I've seen it 100 times before. Baby, where's your inhaler? I ask, already digging through her backpack. Used it, she whimpers. Didn't help much. Mrs. Chen hovers anxiously. She was fine until an hour ago. Then suddenly, it's okay, I assure her, though my own heart is racing. This happens sometimes. The cold air triggers it. I help Sofia with another dose from her inhaler, counting her breaths, watching the tightness in her chest slowly ease. It's not severe enough for the emergency room, not yet, but it's bad enough that I know we'll be up most of the night monitoring her. We should go home, I tell Mrs. Chen, gathering Sofia's things. Thank you for calling me. That man, Mrs. Chen says quietly as I bundle Sofia into her coat. Your boss. He called here 20 minutes ago. Asked if you had arrived yet. Sounded worried. My hand still on Sofia's zipper. He called you. Said he was concerned when you didn't answer your phone. She gives me a knowing look. That's not a boss concern, Elena. That's something else. I don't respond. Can't respond. Because she's right, and we both know it. The taxi ride to Queens feels endless. Sofia dozes against my shoulder, her breathing still slightly wheezy but improving. I stroke her hair, inhaling the strawberry scent, reminding myself why I do this, why I work the long hours, why I've maintained professional boundaries, why I can't afford to make reckless choices. My phone buzzes again. This time it's a call from an unknown number. Hello. Where are you? Luca's voice is tight with barely controlled emotion. How did you get this number? Elena. Where are you? I glance at Sofia sleeping against me. On my way home. My daughter had an asthma attack. I needed to pick her up early. Silence. Then, is she all right? She will be. It's manageable. What hospital? We're not going to the hospital. I said it's manageable. Elena. Luca, I have this under control. I've been handling Sofia's asthma since she was 2 years old. I know what I'm doing. More silence. I can almost hear him thinking, calculating, deciding how much to push. Text me your address, he finally says. Absolutely not. Elena. No. You're my boss, Luca. Not my. I struggle for the right word, acutely aware of Sofia sleeping inches away. You don't get to show up at my home. That's crossing a line. I crossed that line the moment I kissed you. His voice drops lower. I crossed it the moment I told Marco Dante you were mine. There's no going back now, and you know it. I need space to think. You can think while I'm making sure your daughter has proper medical care. She has proper medical care. I snap, keeping my voice low so I don't wake Sofia. What she doesn't need is a mafia boss showing up at our apartment, reminding me of all the reasons this is a terrible idea. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't find your address myself. Because I'm asking you not to. I close my eyes. Please, Luca. Give me tonight. Let me take care of my daughter and process what happened today. If you care about me at all, you'll respect that. The silence stretches, so long I think he's hung up. Then, one night, Elena. But tomorrow we talk. Really talk. About what this is, what it means, and where we go from here. Tomorrow, I agree, relief flooding through me. And Elena, if Sofia gets worse, if she needs anything at all, you call me. Immediately. Understood. The protectiveness in his voice makes my chest ache. Understood. I hang up and press my forehead against the cool window, watching Queens slide by outside. Mrs. Chen's words echo in my mind. That's not a boss concern. That's something else. Something else. Something terrifying and exhilarating and completely impossible. Something I want more than I should. Our apartment is exactly what you'd expect for a single mother making it work in New York. A cramped studio where Sofia's twin bed is separated from my pull-out couch by a bookshelf serving as a room divider. The kitchen is barely large enough for one person. The bathroom has a shower but no tub. The windows face a brick wall. But it's ours. Clean and safe and paid for with my own money. No one's charity. No one's pity. I settle Sofia into bed, propping her up with pillows to help her breathing, setting up the humidifier I bought secondhand from a thrift store. She's already asleep again, exhausted from the attack, her small chest rising and falling with effort. I'm making tea when there's a knock at the door. My heart jumps. It's nearly 8 o'clock. No one visits me here. No one even knows where I live except Mrs. Chen, and I wrench open the door, ready to tell Luca Moretti exactly what I think of men who can't follow simple instructions. But it's not Luca standing in my hallway. It's a woman in her 40s wearing scrubs, carrying a medical bag, her expression professionally neutral. Miss Rossi? I'm Dr. Sarah Patel. Mr. Moretti asked me to check on your daughter. I stare at her. He sent you here. He was very insistent that Sofia receive proper medical attention. She offers a gentle smile. I'm a pediatric pulmonologist. I specialize in childhood asthma. May I come in? Every instinct screams at me to refuse, to slam the door in her face, to call Luca and rage at him for this intrusion. But Sofia wheezes in her sleep, and I'm tired of fighting battles alone. I step aside. Dr. Patel is thorough and kind, examining Sofia with practiced efficiency while explaining everything she's doing in quiet tones. She checks oxygen levels, listens to lung sounds, asks detailed questions about Sofia's medical history. She's stable, she finally pronounces, but her asthma is poorly controlled. When was the last time you saw a specialist? We have a pediatrician. He manages her medications. A general pediatrician isn't enough for asthma this severe. She needs a pulmonologist, regular monitoring, possibly a different medication regimen. Dr. Patel pulls out a card. This is my office. I'd like to see Sofia next week for a full workup. I look at the card, an address on the Upper East Side, the kind of practice that doesn't take Medicaid. I appreciate the offer, but I can't afford. Mr. Moretti has arranged for all expenses to be covered. She says it matter-of-factly, as if wealthy men regularly pay for strangers' children's medical care. This isn't charity, Miss Rossi. He's simply ensuring that his employees' families receive adequate health care. We both know that's a lie. This has nothing to do with employee benefits, and everything to do with the man who kissed me 6 hours ago and told me I was his. I'll think about it, I say, which we both know means yes. After Dr. Patel leaves, I find an envelope on my counter that she must have left, thick, cream-colored paper with my name written in elegant script. Inside is a note in handwriting I recognize from the documents Luca signs daily. You asked for space. I'm giving it to you. But I won't apologize for making sure Sofia has what she needs. That's what I do for the people I care about. I protect them, whether they ask for it or not. Call me if you need anything. Anything at all. Even if it's just to yell at me for overstepping. I read it 3 times, my throat tight, before carefully folding it and tucking it into my purse. That night, I lie awake on my pull-out couch, listening to Sofia breathe, watching the shadows from passing cars play across the ceiling. My phone sits on the floor beside me, Luca's number programmed in now, his contact information just a tap away. I think about the conference room, about the violence in his eyes when Marco touched me, about the gentleness in his hands when he cupped my face. I think about the way he said mine like it was both a promise and a threat. I think about Dr. Patel's kindness, about the card for a specialist I could never afford on my own, about the medication Sofia might need that my insurance won't cover. I think about power and protection and the price of both. Somewhere around 3 in the morning, I make my decision. I arrive at the office at 6:30, a full 30 minutes before my usual time. The building is nearly empty, just a few security guards and cleaning crew. Tony looks surprised to see me. "Early today, Miss Rossi." "Couldn't sleep," I admit. He nods knowingly. "Boss is already upstairs. Been there all night from what I hear." Of course he has. I wonder if he slept at all, or if he spent the night pacing his office, wondering if I'd come back. The elevator ride feels longer than usual. I check my reflection in the mirrored walls. Hair down like he asked yesterday, the gray dress replaced with my usual black skirt and white blouse. Professional armor, even though we both know it's useless now. The office is dark except for the light spilling from Luca's partially open door. I set down my bag, power on my computer, go through my usual morning routine, delaying the inevitable. "Elena!" His voice comes from the doorway of his office. I turn to find him watching me, and my breath catches at the sight of him. He looks wrecked, shirt wrinkled, tie loose, dark circles under his eyes, stubble heavier than usual. He looks like a man who spent the night in hell, and it's my fault. "You came back," he says quietly. "I work here." That's not what I mean. I know what he means. He's asking if I came back to him, if I'm ready to stop running, if I've made my choice. I cross the office slowly, my heels clicking against the marble, until I'm standing in front of him. Close enough to smell the whiskey on his breath, close enough to see the vulnerability in his eyes that he's usually so careful to hide. "Dr. Patel was very thorough," I say. "I'd do it again." "I know." I take a breath. Sofia needs to see her next week. For a full workup. Understanding flickers across his face. "You're accepting help." I'm accepting that my daughter's health is more important than my pride. I hold his gaze. "But we need to establish boundaries, Luca. You can't just send doctors to my apartment without asking. You can't make decisions about Sofia's care without consulting me first." "Agreed." He steps closer, his hand coming up to tuck a strand of hair behind my ear. "What else? If this," I gesture between us, "if this becomes something, Sofia comes first. Always. Her safety, her stability, her happiness. Those are non-negotiable. I wouldn't have it any other way. And no lies. Not to her, not about what you do. When she's old enough to ask questions, she gets honest answers." His jaw tightens. "You want me to tell a child that her mother's boyfriend is a criminal? I want you to be honest." I place my hand on his chest, feeling his heart racing beneath my palm. "If you want to be in our lives, you don't get to hide who you are. Not from her and not from me." For a long moment, he just looks at me, his expression unreadable. Then he covers my hand with his, pressing it harder against his heart. "Okay," he says simply. "Honesty. Boundaries. Sofia first. Anything else?" "Yes." I force myself to voice the fear that's been gnawing at me since yesterday. What happens when you get bored? When the novelty wears off, and I'm just another woman who couldn't keep your interest? That won't happen. You can't know that. "Elena!" He frames my face with both hands, forcing me to meet his eyes. I've had countless women throw themselves at me. Beautiful women. Sophisticated women. Women who understand my world and wouldn't ask me to change. I've never wanted any of them the way I want you. If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. "Why?" The question comes out as barely a whisper. "Why me?" "Because you're real." His thumb traces my lower lip. "Because you look at me and see a man, not a bank account or a power play. Because you have a daughter you die for and a strength that makes my carefully constructed empire look fragile in comparison." He leans his forehead against mine. "Because when I kiss you, I feel something I haven't felt in years. Maybe something I've never felt. Like maybe there's more to life than business and violence and maintaining control." That's terrifying, I admit. For both of us. His laugh is soft and self-deprecating. I've built an empire on fear and respect. I've made men twice my age bow to my authority. I've survived assassination attempts and federal investigations and hostile takeovers. And yet the thought of you walking out that door and never coming back scares me more than any of it. I close my eyes, breathing him in, feeling the truth of his words and the tension of his body, the vulnerability in his voice. I'm not walking out that door, I say finally, but I need you to understand what you're taking on. Sofia has medical needs, emotional needs. She needs stability and routine, and a mother who isn't constantly exhausted or stressed or worried about. I'll give you everything. He cuts me off gently. Better health care for Sofia. A proper apartment where she can have her own room. A life where you're not constantly choosing between paying rent and buying her medication. I don't want your money, Luca. I know. That's why I'm giving it to you anyway. He pulls back slightly, his expression serious. Let me do this, Elena. Let me provide for you both. Not because you need rescuing, but because I need to know you're safe and cared for. Because that's what I do for the people I... He stops, the word hanging unspoken between us. Love. He was going to say love. Too soon. Too fast. Too impossible. But my heart knows it anyway. Come somewhere with me tonight, Luca says, changing the subject before the moment becomes too heavy. After work. Just for a few hours. I can't. Sofia. I've already arranged for a pediatric nurse to stay with her at Mrs. Chen's. Someone Dr. Patel recommended. She'll monitor Sofia's breathing, administer medications if needed, and call you immediately if there's any concern. I should be angry at his presumption, at the way he's already rearranging my life without asking. But instead, I'm exhausted by the constant weight of doing everything alone. Where? I ask. A smile ghosts across his lips. It's a surprise. At 7 o'clock, Luca's driver picks me up outside the office. Not the usual town car, but a sleek black SUV with tinted windows and a subtle armored plating I've learned to recognize. Luca sits in the back, changed from his business suit into dark jeans, and a black sweater that makes him look younger, less intimidating. Almost normal. Almost. How's Sofia? He asks as I slide in beside him. Good. The nurse you sent called an hour ago. Said Sofia's breathing is clear, and they're watching a movie together. Frozen. I blink. How did you? You mentioned it once. 3 months ago. You said Sofia watches Frozen, so often you have the entire script memorized. He's not looking at me, his gaze focused out the window, but I can see the faint color on his cheeks. He remembers. A throwaway comment made in passing, and he remembers. Where are we going? I ask again. You'll see. We drive through Manhattan, then across the bridge into Brooklyn. The neighborhoods gradually shift from commercial to industrial, the streets growing darker, emptier. My nerves kick in, old instincts from my past relationship with Sofia's father making my pulse quicken. Luca's hand finds mine in the darkness. You're safe, he says quietly, as if reading my thoughts. I promise you, Elena. You're always safe with me. The SUV pulls up to what looks like an abandoned warehouse. My anxiety spikes. Luca! Trust me. He opens the door, extending his hand. Please. Against all logic, I take it. Inside, the warehouse is transformed. What appeared derelict from the outside is actually a massive, open space filled with equipment that makes my eyes widen. Boxing rings, weight racks, heavy bags suspended from the ceiling, a full basketball court in one corner, and everywhere kids, dozens of them, ranging from maybe 8 to 18, all engaged in various activities. Some box under the watchful eye of trainers. Others shoot hoops. A group of younger ones practice martial arts in the corner. What is this? I breathe. The Moretti Youth Center. Luca's hand rests on the small of my back as he guides me forward. We opened it 5 years ago. Give kids from rough neighborhoods a safe place to go after school. Teach them discipline. Give them structure. Keep them off the streets. A young man approaches, maybe 22, with kind eyes and the build of a boxer. Boss, didn't expect to see you tonight. Just showing someone around, Marcus. Luca clasps the younger man's shoulder with genuine affection. How's your sister doing? Good. Real good. That scholarship you helped her get? She's killing it at Columbia. Dean's List her first semester. Pride radiates from Luca's expression. Knew she would. She's smart like her brother. Marcus grins, then turns to me. You must be Elena. He talks about you all the time. Heat floods my cheeks as Luca shoots Marcus a look. Don't you have a class to teach? Going. Marcus winks at me, before jogging back to a group of teenagers waiting by the boxing ring. "You talk about me?" I ask as we continue walking. "I may have mentioned you once or twice." Luca's ears are slightly red. Marcus has a big mouth. We spend the next hour touring the facility. Luca introduces me to coaches and volunteers, all of whom clearly adore him. I watch him interact with the kids, correcting a boy's boxing stance, encouraging a shy girl attempting her first free throw, sitting cross-legged on the mat to watch a group of younger children demonstrate their karate forms. This isn't the ruthless businessman I see in the office. This isn't the dangerous man who slammed Marco Dante against a wall. This is someone else entirely, patient and encouraging and genuinely invested in these kids' futures. "I grew up not far from here," Luca tells me as we watch a basketball game from the sidelines. "My father was starting to build his empire, and the neighborhood was rough. Really rough. I saw kids my age get swallowed up by gangs, drugs, violence. He's quiet for a moment, his jaw tight. I couldn't save them all. Couldn't even save most of them. But I could do this. Give kids a choice. A path that doesn't lead where mine did." "Where did yours lead?" I ask gently. He looks at me, and the vulnerability in his eyes makes my heart ache. "Exactly where you think. My father built an empire on fear and blood. When he died, I inherited all of it, the legitimate businesses and the ones that operate in shadows. I've tried to steer things toward legal operations to transform what he built into something sustainable. But there are parts of his world you can't just walk away from. Obligations, debts, enemies who won't rest until I'm dead or destroyed. Is that what Marco Dante is? An enemy? Marco is a complication. His family and mine have been competitors for 3 generations. Sometimes we cooperate when it benefits us both. Sometimes we're at each other's throats. Yesterday he crossed a line. By flirting with me. By touching what's mine. There's no apology in his voice, just simple truth. In my world, that's a declaration of intent. He wasn't just being charming, Elena. He was testing me, seeing if I'd defend my claim. If I'd shown weakness, if I'd let it slide, every other family would see it as an opportunity. The casual way he discusses violence and territorial disputes should frighten me. Instead, I find myself understanding the rules of his world, the delicate balance he maintains between power and survival. "Come on," he says, taking my hand. "There's someone I want you to meet." He leads me to a small office tucked in the back of the warehouse. Inside, an older woman sits at a desk covered in paperwork, her gray hair pulled into a neat bun, glasses perched on her nose. "Luca!" She stands, pulling him into a fierce hug that he returns with obvious affection. "You never visit anymore. Too busy being an important businessman." "I'm here now, aren't I?" He pulls back, smiling. "Rosa, I want you to meet someone. This is Elena Rossi." Rosa's eyes sharpen as she studies me. "Rossi? Any relation to Antonio Rossi?" My breath catches. "He was my grandfather." "How did you?" "Because I knew him." Rosa's expression softens. "A lifetime ago, before he died. He and Luca's father were close. Very close." She turns to Luca. "Does she know?" "I was planning to tell her," Luca says quietly. "Tonight, actually." Rosa nods, returning to her seat. "Then I'll leave you two to talk. But Elena, your grandfather was a good man. One of the few in this business who stayed good despite everything. Your grandmother must be proud." "My grandmother died 6 years ago," I say softly. "I'm sorry to hear that." Rosa squeezes my hand. "She was a fierce woman. I only met her once, but she made an impression." After we leave Rosa's office, Luca guides me up a set of stairs to a second-floor balcony overlooking the gym. From here, we can see the entire space, all the kids training, laughing, living. "My father and your grandfather were best friends," Luca begins, leaning against the railing. "They grew up together in this neighborhood, built the business together. Your grandfather handled the legitimate side, the restaurants, the construction contracts, the real estate deals. My father handled everything else." He's quiet for a moment, watching a basketball arc through the air below. "When I was 12, there was an attempt on my father's life. A car bomb. Your grandfather pushed him out of the way at the last second. Took the blast himself. My hand flies to my mouth. Oh God! He died instantly. My father survived but was never the same. Carried the guilt of it until the day he died. Made me promise I'd take care of Antonio's family if they ever needed anything. Is that why you hired me? The question comes out sharper than I intend. Out of some obligation to my dead grandfather? No. Luca turns to face me fully. I hired you because you were qualified, because you needed the job, and yes, because of the connection to your grandfather. But I fell for you because of who you are, not who he was. Fell for me. I repeat the words, testing their weight. Is that so hard to believe? He moves closer, backing me gently against the railing. That a man could look at you, really see you, and fall so hard he can barely think straight. Yes, I whisper. Because men like you don't fall for women like me. We're from different worlds, Luca. You're... what? Rich. Powerful. Dangerous. His hands frame my face. All true. But I'm also lonely. Isolated. Surrounded by people who want something from me. And then you walked through my door with your stubborn pride and your fierce love for your daughter and your complete indifference to my money and status and I. He stops, swallowing hard. You what? I prompt gently. I felt human again. His forehead rests against mine. For the first time in years, I felt like maybe I could be more than my father's legacy. More than the empire he built. Maybe I could be someone worthy of a woman like you. Tears pricked my eyes. Luca! I'm not asking you to fix me, Elena. I know I'm broken in ways that can't be repaired. But when I'm with you, the broken parts don't seem to matter as much. When I see Sofia's face light up in the photos you show me, when I hear you talk about her dreams and fears, I think maybe I could be part of something good. Something that matters. You already are part of something good. I gesture to the gym below, to all the kids whose lives he's touched. This matters. These kids matter. But it's not enough. His voice is raw with emotion. Not anymore. Not since I met you. I kiss him then, unable to resist, unable to maintain the distance I know I should keep. His arms wrap around me, pulling me close, and for a moment, we're just two people finding each other in the darkness. Not a mafia boss and his assistant, not a criminal and a single mother, just Luca and Elena. When we break apart, his smile is genuine and unguarded. Take me home with you tonight, he says softly. Let me meet Sofia properly. Not as your boss, but as someone who wants to be in both of your lives. My heart stutters. Luca, she's 5. She won't understand. So we keep it simple. I'm Mama's friend who came to check on her, make sure she's feeling better. Nothing more. Not yet. His thumb strokes my cheek. I just want to see where you live. Meet the person who matters most to you. Is that okay? It's a terrible idea. Introducing Sofia to Luca will only complicate things further, will make it that much harder to walk away if this all falls apart. But looking into his eyes, seeing the hope and vulnerability there, I can't say no. Okay, I whisper. You can come home with me. Mrs. Chen's apartment is warm and filled with the sound of animated singing when we arrive. Luca insisted on stopping at a toy store first, despite my protests, and now carries a stuffed animal that costs more than my weekly grocery budget, a plush unicorn with a rainbow mane that he insisted Sofia would love. The nurse, a kind woman in her 50s named Patricia, gives us a full report. Sofia's breathing has been clear all evening, no sign of distress. Oxygen levels perfect. She's been happy and engaged, ate all her dinner, and has been singing Frozen songs for the past hour. She's a delightful child, Patricia says, gathering her things. You're doing an excellent job with her, Miss Rossi. After Patricia leaves, I find Sofia sprawled on Mrs. Chen's living room floor, surrounded by coloring books and crayons, her face lit up with the unfiltered joy that only 5-year-olds possess. Mama! She scrambles to her feet and runs to me, throwing her arms around my waist. I was so good today. Ask Mrs. Chen. I'm sure you were, baby. I smooth her hair, breathing in her strawberry scent, grounding myself in her realness. How's your breathing? Any tightness in your chest? Nope. The nice nurse lady listened to my lungs and said they sound perfect. She pulls back, her eyes widening as she notices Luca standing in the doorway. Who's that? My throat tightens. This is Mr. Moretti. He's Mama's boss from work. He wanted to check on you, make sure you were feeling better. Luca crouches down to Sofia's eye level, the movement fluid and natural. You can call me Luca, he says gently, his voice softer than I've ever heard it. I brought you something. He holds out the unicorn, and Sofia's eyes go wide with wonder. For me, she breathes, reaching for it slowly, as if afraid it might disappear. For you, Luca confirms. I heard you weren't feeling well, and I thought maybe a new friend might help. Sofia clutches the unicorn to her chest, her face glowing. She's beautiful. Mama, look. She has rainbow hair. I see, baby. What do you say? Thank you. Sofia's manners kick in, and she gives Luca her best smile, the one that shows the gap where she lost her first tooth last month. What's your favorite color? Mine's purple. And pink. And sometimes yellow when it's sunny. Luca's laugh is genuine and surprised. I like blue. Dark blue like the ocean. I've never seen the ocean, Sofia says matter-of-factly. But Mama says maybe someday we'll go to the beach. Something flashes across Luca's face, determination, perhaps, or a silent promise. I think that's a wonderful idea. I watch them interact, my heart doing strange acrobatics in my chest. Luca is patient and attentive, asking Sofia about her favorite movies and books, admiring her coloring, complimenting her artwork with genuine appreciation. There's no condescension in his voice, no awkwardness. He talks to her like she's a real person whose opinions matter. Sofia, for her part, is completely charmed. She shows him every picture she's colored, tells him elaborate stories about her stuffed animals, and even convinces him to sit on the floor and help her build a castle out of blocks. Mrs. Chen catches my eye from across the room, her expression knowing. That one, she mouths, nodding at Luca. He's different. Different. Yes. Dangerously, impossibly different. We should go home, I finally say, noting the time. It's past your bedtime, Sofia. Can Luca come with us? Sofia asks, clutching her new unicorn. Please, Mama. He said he'd tell me a story about a princess and a dragon. I look at Luca, who shrugs slightly, leaving the decision to me. Okay, I hear myself say. But just for a little while. The walk to our apartment building takes 10 minutes. Luca's driver follows at a discreet distance. Security protocol, I realize, though he doesn't mention it. Sofia chatters the entire way, telling Luca about her preschool and her friends and the drawings she's making for me for Christmas. She doesn't notice the way Luca's expression darkens as we enter our building, the peeling paint in the lobby, the broken elevator that forces us to climb 4 flights of stairs, the flickering hallway lights that I've reported to the landlord 3 times with no response. But I notice the way his jaw tightens, the way his hand flexes at his side, the carefully controlled anger in his eyes as he takes in the reality of where his assistant and her daughter live. Inside our tiny studio, Sofia immediately flops onto her bed, arranging her new unicorn beside her other stuffed animals. Story time, she announces. You promised. Sofia, I'm sure Luca is tired. I begin, but he's already moving to sit on the edge of her bed, completely at ease. Once upon a time, he begins, and Sofia snuggles deeper into her blankets, her eyes already drooping. There was a brave princess who lived in a tower, not because she was trapped, but because she was guarding something very precious. His story is enchanting. A tale of a princess who protects her younger sister from a dragon, not with a sword, but with her cleverness and courage. Sofia is asleep before he finishes, her hand clutching the unicorn's rainbow mane, her breathing deep and even. Luca stands slowly, careful not to disturb her, and follows me to the small kitchen area. We stand in the cramped space between my counter and refrigerator, the reality of my life on full display, the second-hand dishes, the ancient appliances, the water stain on the ceiling I've been meaning to paint over. Elena, he starts, but I cut him off. Don't. I keep my voice low, so I don't wake Sofia. Don't say whatever you're about to say. Don't offer me a new apartment, or more money, or... You're living in a building with a broken elevator and failing security. The lock on your door wouldn't stop a determined teenager, let alone someone actually dangerous. There's mold growing in the corner of your bathroom ceiling, and your windows don't seal properly, which is why it's freezing in here despite the radiator running. I cross my arms defensively. It's what I can afford. It's not safe. His voice is tight with controlled fury, not at me, I realize, but at the situation. At his own inability to immediately fix it. Sofia deserves better than this. You deserve better than this. We're fine. You're not fine. He keeps his voice low, but the intensity doesn't diminish. You're working 12-hour days and coming home to a studio apartment where you can't even give your daughter her own room. You're splitting your paycheck between rent and medical bills, and I'm willing to bet you skip meals to make sure Sofia has enough to eat. The accuracy of his assessment makes my cheeks burn. How I manage my finances is none of your business. It is now. He steps closer, his eyes blazing. Because you're mine, Elena. You and Sofia both. That makes everything about your well-being my business. We're not yours. Yes, you are. He frames my face with his hands, forcing me to meet his eyes. You became mine the moment you walked into my office. Sofia became mine the moment I saw her picture on your desk. And I take care of what's mine. I don't need. The rest of my protest dies as his phone rings. He glances at the screen, his expression hardening. I have to take this. He steps into the hallway, closing the door behind him, but I can hear the sharp edge of his voice through the thin walls. A moment later, he's back, his face grim. I need to go. There's a situation that requires my attention. He cups my face one more time, pressing a kiss to my forehead. Lock the door behind me. All 3 locks. And keep your phone close. Luca, what's wrong? Just a business matter. But the tension in his shoulders tells me it's more than that. I'll call you tomorrow. He's gone before I can ask more questions, leaving me standing in my tiny kitchen, my lips still burning from the ghost of his kiss, my mind spinning with questions I'm not sure I want answered. I check on Sofia, still sleeping peacefully, the unicorn tucked under her arm, before deadbolting all 3 locks and pulling out the burner phone Luca gave me weeks ago. For emergencies, he'd said. At the time, I thought it was paranoid. Now I'm not so sure. I'm washing my face when my regular phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Tell your boyfriend he should keep better track of his women. It would be a shame if something happened to that pretty little girl of yours. Ice floods my veins. I stare at the message, my hands shaking, before immediately calling Luca. He answers on the first ring. Elena! What's wrong? I got a text. My voice is surprisingly steady despite my racing heart. Someone threatening Sofia. Forward it to me. Now. The warmth is gone from his voice, replaced by cold, lethal fury. Pack a bag. Essential items only. You and Sofia are leaving that apartment tonight. Luca! Don't argue with me, Elena. Not about this. I can hear him moving, issuing rapid-fire commands to someone in the background. Marco is sending you a message through your daughter. This is how our world works. You find leverage and you use it. Well, he just made the biggest mistake of his life. What are you going to do? Whatever is necessary to keep you safe. His voice softens slightly. There's a car already en route to your building. 2 minutes out. My men will escort you and Sofia to a secure location. You'll stay there until this is resolved. For how long? As long as it takes. He's quiet for a moment. I'm sorry, Elena. This is my fault. I should have anticipated Marco would retaliate. Should have had protection on you already. This isn't your fault. Yes, it is. The self-recrimination in his voice is painful to hear. I claimed you in front of witnesses, made you a target, and now Sofia is in danger because of me. A knock sounds at my door, 3 quick reps, then 2 slower ones. The pattern Luca must have told them to use. They're here, I say, moving to look through the peephole. 2 men in dark suits stand in the hallway, their faces professional and alert. Luca, I'm scared. I know, baby. I know. The endearment slips out naturally, and neither of us comments on it. But those are my best men. They'll keep you safe until I can get there myself. Trust them. Trust me. I do, I realize. Despite everything, despite the insanity of this situation, I trust Luca Moretti with my life. With my daughter's life. Good girl. Now go. I'll see you soon. I promise. The line goes dead. I stuff clothes into a bag with shaking hands, grab Sofia's medication and favorite stuffed animals, scoop my sleeping daughter into my arms. She stirs briefly, mumbling something about dragons, before settling against my shoulder. The men in the hallway are polite but efficient. Miss Rossi? I'm Vincent. This is Tony. Mr. Moretti sent us to ensure your safety. I recognize Tony, the security guard from Moretti Tower's lobby, who always asks about Sofia. His familiar face provides a small measure of comfort. Where are we going? I ask as they escort us down the stairs, one in front, one behind, their hands resting on concealed weapons. Secure location, Vincent says. Mr. Moretti will explain everything when he arrives. The SUV waiting outside is identical to the one from earlier, armored, tinted windows, reinforced doors. I climb into the back seat, cradling Sofia against me, and watch my apartment building disappear into the night. Everything has changed. There's no going back to the life I had before, no pretending this is just a job, no maintaining professional distance. Luca Moretti has pulled me into his world completely. And God help me, I don't want to leave. The secure location turns out to be a penthouse apartment in Tribeca that makes my entire studio look like a closet. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook the Hudson River, the furniture is sleek and expensive, and Sofia's temporary bedroom is larger than our entire living space back in Queens. I settle her into the enormous bed, surrounding her with familiar stuffed animals, the new unicorn clutched tight in her arms. She never fully woke during the transfer, exhausted from her earlier asthma episode and the excitement of meeting Luca. My innocent, beautiful daughter who has no idea that men with guns just escorted us here because someone threatened her life. The thought makes bile rise in my throat. Vincent and Tony take positions by the doors, one at the entrance, one on the balcony access. Professional. Alert. Armed. I sink onto the leather couch in the living room, my hands trembling as adrenaline finally catches up with me. This is real. The danger Luca warned me about, the world he tried to protect me from, it's not abstract anymore. It's a text message threatening my daughter. It's armed guards in my temporary home. It's the cold reality that I've put Sofia at risk by getting involved with Luca Moretti. My phone rings. Luca! Are you there? Are you safe? We're here. I confirm, my voice hollow. Sofia's asleep. Your men are doing whatever it is they do. Elena, I need you to listen to me. No. The word comes out sharper than I intend. You listen to me. Someone just threatened to hurt my 5-year-old daughter. My baby, Luca. Because of you. Because I made the monumentally stupid decision to get involved with a man whose enemies used children as leverage. Silence on the other end. Then, quietly, you're right. I know I'm right. Tears blur my vision, anger and fear and frustration boiling over. I knew this was a bad idea. I knew getting close to you would bring danger into our lives. But I did it anyway because I stopped, not ready to say the words. Because I was selfish. You're not selfish for wanting happiness. Happiness. I laugh bitterly. Is that what this is? Because right now it feels like the worst mistake I've ever made. More silence. When he speaks again, his voice is raw. Do you want me to let you go? Pull my protection. Let you disappear. Pretend the last 6 months never happened. 3 months later, the new apartment in Brooklyn is nothing like the penthouse or my old studio. It's a compromise, safe and secure, but not ostentatious. Sofia has her own room, painted purple at her insistence, filled with books and toys, and the unicorn that started everything. I still work for Luca, but the job has changed. I'm helping him navigate the transformation of Moretti Industries into something legitimate, using my business degree for the first time since graduation. It's challenging and exhausting and exactly what I need. More importantly, Luca comes home to us every night. Sometimes early enough for dinner, sometimes late after Sofia's asleep. But he always comes home. Always kisses me like he can't quite believe I'm real. Always checks on Sofia, tucking her rainbow blanket around her shoulders. We haven't set a wedding date yet. Haven't made it official. But there's a ring in his nightstand drawer that I'm not supposed to know about, and I catch him looking at it sometimes when he thinks I'm not paying attention. Tonight, we're at the youth center. Sofia is in the corner with Marcus, who's teaching her basic boxing stances while making her giggle. Luca stands beside me, his hand at the small of my back, watching her with undisguised adoration. She's going to be a heartbreaker, he murmurs. She already is. She's got you wrapped around her little finger. He grins, unrepentant. Can you blame me? Rosa approaches, her expression warm. Luca, there's someone here to see you. Says it's important. A flicker of tension crosses his face, old instincts dying hard. But then he sees who it is and relaxes. A young man in his early 20s, carrying a college acceptance letter, his face glowing with pride. Another kid from the neighborhood. Another life transformed. This is what Luke is building now. Not an empire of fear, but a legacy of hope. As I watch him congratulate the young man, as I see Sofia practicing her punches with Marcus, as I feel the steady rhythm of this new life settling around us, I know we made the right choice. It won't always be easy. There will be challenges, setbacks, moments when Luca's past threatens his future. But we'll face them together. Because love isn't about perfection. It's about choosing each other every day despite the complications. It's about a mafia boss who learned to be more than his father's legacy. It's about a single mother who learned that asking for help isn't weakness. It's about a little girl who deserves to see her mother happy, to know what it looks like when two people choose each other fiercely and completely. Later that night, after Sofia's asleep and Luca's holding me on our couch, I feel him press something into my hand. The ring. I know we said we'd wait, he murmurs against my hair. But I'm tired of waiting. I want you to be my wife. I want Sofia to be my daughter, legally and officially. I want to wake up every morning knowing you're mine, and I'm yours, and nothing will ever change that. I look at the ring. Simple, elegant, perfect. Not ostentatious or showy. Just right. Yes, I whisper. Yes to all of it. When he slides the ring onto my finger, it feels like coming home. Like everything we've been through, the danger, the fear, the impossible odds, has led us exactly where we're supposed to be. Sofia will be our flower girl, we decide. Mrs. Chen will be invited. The ceremony will be small and intimate, just the people who matter. Because we've learned that the best things in life aren't the ones that come easy. They're the ones you fight for. The ones you choose every single day. The ones that transform you from who you were into who you're meant to be. I'm Elena Rossi, soon to be Elena Moretti. I'm a mother, a partner, a woman who fell in love with a dangerous man and helped him become something more. And I wouldn't change a single thing. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you love the story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.